I think a lot of people think that our sets are probably really fun to hang out on, and but Mark and I are, you know, just destroying ourselves the whole time. And I think the toughest part about it for us is that, and this involves flow, but it also involves a tremendous amount of just cognition, is that we kind of do work in loosely controlled chaos, sometimes not loosely controlled. And even with a movie like this, which is our most controlled movie, because we had to end up at a bridge and throw people off of it and have little girls underwater, you know? This is that like Mark and I have not done before. Like you're asking the toughest scene is like that bridge scene was harder than all of our movies put together prior to this moment, you know? And the way that Mark kind of describes it is, I think, a great metaphor, is like we shoot in this documentary style where we let people go into a room and have real interactions, and I kind of capture it as a documentarian. When you shoot a bridge scene that has to be storyboarded like that, you have to control it, and then you have to make it shaggy again. So Mark kind of describes it as like thrift store shopping. You have to work really frickin' hard to make it look like it just fell off the rack and you just like bought it from J. Crew, you know? So that was extremely challenging for us, and you know, it took us forever to prepare for it.
I'd like to say, I think Ed would agree though, like doing a movie with you guys on set, it never felt anything but very calm. You know, there were scenes where, the scene where I sit down in the bathtub with Ed and talk, we just sat there and talked for like a few hours, and you said, just talk as brothers. Don't worry about the script. Let's just see what happens. And we just sat there for 2 or 3 hours. It was super, super calm. Even jumping off the bridge felt super calm. No, it really did. Like, and that might have been your trick. Like, all right, go for it. Jump off the bridge.
All that spicy food we gave you down there. Just keep you in a good spot. I mean, you know, Jason brings up a good point, and I think it is important that this is a well-structured movie in terms of the plot points, but a lot of the dialogue that you see, you know, every scene we shoot is improvised to a certain extent. The dramatic scenes. So, you know, when they're outside of the restaurant and the bus passes by and Ed said, "Oh, a school bus just drove by. Is she at a school?" I mean, we didn't plan that bus. That came by and Ed took that and ran with it. So those are things that need to be sort of called out. And you know, I think like Jason on the toilet in the front of the movie, what you saw there is 100% the exact beats of what Jay and I wrote, but you know, those were words that he kind of made up in the moment. We would say something like, you know, tell the plot of Signs, but try and make it feel like Jeff Who Lives at Home a little bit more, you know, and he would kind of noodle his way through that, and he's a writer and really good at that. So it wasn't just you showing up, you know, you guys do a lot of that.
I'm just going to chime in on this issue of improvisation because, you know, I come from a comedy background, as does Jason, and I'm called upon to improvise a lot in different movies and on The Office, and it's a great joy, but it's usually about trying to find the funniest beat or the funniest joke or the funniest sort of punchline or moment that you can. And what was a really, I don't know, kind of eye-opening and exciting challenge, and it turned out to just be fun as hell, and like getting chills kind of fun, was to improvise fully, like just the most mundane moments, and even not just mundane, but also kind of like really dramatic moments. It was a real joy.